Welcome to the Pulse with Peter Urbina. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano. Let's get you to the pulse on everything you need to know. And as you can see, I'm super excited today because joining us for the third straight week now? Man, she is becoming a veteran on the show, and I absolutely love it. Who needs Josh Sotomayor on time? Who needs you, Josh? Anyway, it is Alexandria Tava of @AlexandriaTava and AlexandriaTava.com. Alexandria, so good to see you today.
Thank you.
All right, so there was an announcement last weekend at the national level, at the state level, at the local level. We have another 30 days of self-isolation or quarantine, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
Obviously, people should only be going out for the essential needs unless you are a first responder and anybody else who falls under those essential workers and so on and so forth. So, Alexandria, this is really, in my opinion, going to be a tough time mentally for people.
Absolutely.
I mean, what can you say to the viewers out there who are like, oh my God, these 30 days are going to feel like 3 months?
Well, the first thing is okay, we can all sit and dwell and get depressed about it, or we have the choice to take this as an opportunity to finally do what it is that you kind of always wanted to spend your time doing. You don't have to go to your job during the day like you did before, which means that you have more time to fill in those gaps with things that you like. So, for example, some people always wanted to pick up cooking. That's kind of an easy one. Some people feel like cooking's a job as well because they have families and they provide. But what about, I mean, let's dive in. What's a hobby that you always wanted to do?
Me?
Yeah.
I always...
Or do you kind of always do?
That I always do is, believe it or not, I love going to the gym. And it's killing me that I can't go to the gym right now.
Okay. And
Is that so much a hobby? I guess it is.
well, I mean, it gets your heart rate up and you realize, but you like
But it's also the social experience for me.
Okay.
Because you know me, I don't stop talking.
So we don't have that option, but what we do have is now we have social media, right? Mm-hmm. And we have FaceTime and we have Zoom. This might be a good opportunity for all the teenagers and all the college kids at home to be like, okay, so I'm stuck with you, Mom and Dad. Why don't we start to try to FaceTime people? And we can make it a game with each other at home. It might not seem like too much fun at first, but right now do you know the social media platform TikTok?
I don't.
Okay.
But the social media team here at the Pulse has told me that I need to start investigating in it or
TikTok.
participating in it.
TikTok is booming, and I'm talking about, 60-year-old moms doing dancing with their daughters on TikTok for like these 20, 30-second little clips. And people on social media are doing challenges with each other. And that's a really fun way to start to engage, and also it's bringing your family closer. So then when you now sit at the dinner table, instead of feeling bogged down by going out to work, commuting, X, Y, and Z, maybe not really sitting at the table altogether, you now have that opportunity. And then you have something to talk about.
So let me ask you a question, Alexandra. You've been really, and we've received some viewer responses, and I shared them with you, regarding ways people can do other things to ease their anxiety, whether that's sound healing or meditation. Yeah. And you even did a demonstration, which my parents, by the way, were cracking up when they were watching this. They were like, wow, that was the calmest we've ever seen you. She should have been on the show more often. And I'm like, oh, thanks, Mom and Dad. Anyway, but give me some other ways. It could be 5, it could be 3, whatever you want, of how people can get their minds off of this, oh my God, again, we talk a lot about being stuck in one's own head, and to me that's such an issue because that's where mental health becomes dangerous for that individual. Give me some ways people can lower their anxiety and just chill out for the next 30 days.
So, I would say, always go back to music. Maybe make a playlist on Spotify or whatever music streaming service that you use, or if you're old school, make an actual mixtape. Make it fun.
Wow.
Make a mixtape.
Do they still make tapes?
I mean, someone out there probably has it. Like a cassette player. You can make a digital mixtape. Make a mixtape, make a playlist, and have that be your go-to music guide. During that time, I would suggest get a notebook. That's your designated notebook for these moments where you are getting cabin fever. You start to bring up all those subconscious like insecurities that you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to even find the person I'm supposed to be with. I'm never going to get the job that I want. I'm never going to get the shoes I want. Oh my God, what am I doing? Because that's what's going to happen. In the next 30 days, we're going to start to have to face all those things that we don't want to because we don't have the external distractions. During that time, putting it on paper is a really great way to actually reprogram your mindset. It's a way that a lot of therapists, a lot of healers help you go deep into your subconscious and kind of like level things out. So when you don't know what to do, right? A couple of segments ago, I said you breathe. Now, another step further is you put it on paper. And how you kind of make it fun is by having that playlist behind you. Now, if you want to do something after that, right? What I do is I like to be a little more creative. I'll take what I wrote and I'll make it into a poem or a collage or a free writing of some sort. If you're not so much into the artsy side of things, then make it a game. Read what you wrote. Find a movie that matches that subject matter. So you have to just start to play with the fact that you are going to be home for the next 30 days.
Do you think scheduling is important during times like this? Like, look, I've spent the last 2 hours looking at my work email, and there hasn't been one work email coming out. Yeah. Maybe it's time that I go on social media a little. I watch a film. I mean, I think organization is key during these times. I mean, let me know if you agree with that or not.
No, I think we're all now in the environment of being an entrepreneur, right? Like entrepreneurs, people who work remotely, we have to get up, we have to work out, we have our breakfast, we do our affirmations if you're that type of person, and you have to go on with your day. So you might not have chosen to be a self-starter, but this is an opportunity to now be that. And so I would definitely say online there's a ton of templates for the week. I can actually put one up on my website that's a downloadable one that people can use. And it'll just kind of help format what to do during the week so that you don't get overwhelmed about that as well.
Interesting. Okay. Now, you keep talking about sound healing and meditation and all of that. Again, I know you were starting your website. You redesigned your website, let's just say. And I know I asked you this last week. Do you have a place where people can go and possibly get some tips from you regarding meditation or sound healing or any other things that can pass the time during the 30-day quarantine?
Absolutely. And we're actually talking and I don't necessarily do this, but what's happening in society is we're all kind of reevaluating our life so if you need that coaching to help you kind of get onto that pathway, yes, I am available. All you have to do is write me an email, let me know your situation, and you and I set up a scheduled time where we go into what it is that you need and I customize something for you.
Excellent.
And don't let financial hardships be something that holds you back. Just reach out to me and we'll make it work.
Make it work. Alexandria Tava becoming a recurring guest here, which I absolutely love. Folks, next week you're not going to want to miss Alexandria, on the show because we might be doing some things by the pier. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. Folks, when we come back, we have Petra John in studio who is making her Pulse premiere. We'll be back.
Thank you.
Peter Biancamano, your hostess with the mostest of the Pulse of Peter B. Folks, don't forget to get on our YouTube page and binge watch all of our past episodes. Type in the Pulse of Peter B in your search bar and please subscribe. Also, go on our Instagram page and follow us at The Pulse with Peter B.
Welcome back to the Pulse of Peter B. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano, and we have a Pulse premiere this week, and that is Petra John. How are you, Petra?
Good, how are you?
I am doing great. By the way, I love the way your name just rolls off the tongue. Petra John. It's so easy. I mean, You love it,
Like
don't
yours,
you?
I do.
Like,
I do. Yours
Bianca
is
Mano.
Peter. Yeah, there you go.
Peter, Petra.
Same
Anybody
thing.
that starts with a P, folks. Anybody that starts with a P. So, Petra, you are a Bayonne High School student in your junior year.
Correct.
And you're also a student council representative. So, this is a little bit of different times than your first 2 years in high school. Right or wrong?
They are. They're very, we're used to a 10-year, we're in class for 10 years, right? And then now it's all online, so it's very different for me and my peers. So.
Exactly. And we're going to get to that in this little segment here. But first, how has the coronavirus affected you personally, you believe?
So I had a lot of time to look at jokes actually, and I have one that perfectly answers your question. Some man ate a bat in China, and now I'm in Bayonne, New Jersey, and I can't do anything. I can't go out, can't go to school, can't hang out with friends, can't do anything. So it has really impacted me and everyone really.
So you spoke a little bit about not being able to go out. I mean, besides the obviously different educational mandates that are in place now, online learning and so on and so forth. How has it affected it outside of education of the virus?
So I used to consider myself a social butterfly, but I didn't know how much of a social butterfly I was until I was confined to my apartment, or homes or whatnot. I think I do want to say that I completely understand why these procedures and the quarantine is in effect. I think we have to protect the most vulnerable in our society. I think I sympathize a lot with those who have pre-existing medical conditions or compromised immune systems. So we do have to stay home to flatten that curve. But it's no surprise that it just suck out, the joy in life. So
you're not one of those people that Governor Murphy's yelling at that are breaking the rules, right? See that?
Not with my dad.
Bayonne's finest right here, let me tell you.
Damn.
Bayonne's finest. Now, I do want to get to, because this is so important and for our viewers to know, is the educational experience. I mean, what has changed? I mean, do you like it better? Do you not like it better? Do you think it's more work? Do you think it's less work? I mean, the floor is yours.
It's a huge shift, right? So again, I've spent 10 plus years in an actual classroom, and now in like a snap of a hand, it's online schooling now, and it's very different for me and my peers. I know in the SATs we had to cancel the first 2 dates, so in March and May they're now canceled, and we have one shot at the SATs now, and it's very, very, very different, and it's very hard for the students, especially the class of 2021, because I'm sure you remember when you take your SAT, you want to take it, improve your score, take it again, and now you really can't do that because we have one shot at it junior class. I know some colleges said that, it's fine, you don't have to put your SAT score on your application, but a lot of students are saying, it's a disadvantage. Some students are saying that they like it, so it's very different in that regards. I'm also in a lot of AP classes, and so the College Board now has moved the AP exams to an online setting in May, and it's very different because we've been practicing for years, if not months, to take that exam in May, and now it's a completely different format. It's no longer a 3-hour, essay, multiple choice, whatever you've been preparing for. It's a 45-minute response, like short answer response time. So it's very different.
So I'm just curious now, because do you get to sleep in a little bit more now?
An hour, exactly 1 hour. 1 hour.
See.
So it's not worth
that.
it. It's not worth it.
So talk to me. It is Monday morning. Let's because Monday's so miserable. Let's start with maybe Wednesday morning. It is Wednesday morning. You get up. Are you immediately on your computer?
So we have to sign in between 9:30 and 10, so it's an open window really. So you get to sleep
And
an
how
hour.
do you sign? I guess just by clicking in, and
Putting
they'll
in
say
your name,
Petra
yeah.
John is now in session.
in class, right? So it's very different because again, I just open a computer, I hit a few buttons, and I'm in. But you don't get that social interaction with your peers and your students and your teachers and all that. So it's very different. Yeah.
That's very, very interesting. And then your day goes on. Do you do a lot of classes through Zoom or Skype or anything like that?
So not my classes. I did, however, talk to a senior student. He's enrolled in an EMT class, and so they do use Zoom, but it's very, very difficult because there's a lot of room for mistakes and open errors that can't be really caught on camera. So he was explaining how it's just very different, to do that class online, and he was talking about how he prefers physical instruction because it prepares them best as opposed to a Zoom kind of learning environment.
Very, very interesting. I mean, and shout out to my good friend Kenny Kopatz, who's the assistant superintendent out in Bayonne. It looks like, there you go, and a principal. He's still a principal?
No, but I used to go. I was in his elementary school, and he was principal. And every time he sees me, he's like, "Petra, who's the best principal ever?" So
there you go,
best
Kenny. You see,
principal.
this is Bayonne's finest here. I mean, we couldn't have asked for a better representative here. Now, you are involved in a lot of extracurricular activities, let's just say. Model UN, just to name a few. Model UN is fantastic, by the way. No. Now, since you love it so much, I mean, how has, I guess, cyber learning and not being able to, publicly debate with your fellow peers, how has it affected you throughout this pandemic?
Yeah, so I mean, with Model UN, I've been doing it for so long, since freshman year. I absolutely love it, right? But thankfully, it hasn't hurt our Model UN season. We do 2 big conferences in the year. We do one in Georgetown University in DC. So
I'm
we
sure
did
you
that.
practice, no? Or?
We do, but we
Okay.
practice in we do practice in class. But a lot of the preparation really is done on your own time, even in these big conferences, because every student is debating a different topic and a different country position. We're assigned different nations sometimes, so it's not like an actual preparation in class. It's more like you prepare for your own time at these conferences. So we did go to the one in DC in February. We also went to the National High School Model UN Conference in New York City.
Very
Fun
cool.
fact, the last day there was the first day the governor announced the first coronavirus case. So it was
The governor of
not
New York
a
or
happy time.
Jersey?
New York, because
Ah.
it was in New York, right?
Okay.
So we did have our big conferences, but now we were trying to fit in small conferences around the year. We plan to do the Central Jersey Model UN Conference, and that, surprise, surprise, has been canceled, and now it's on an online platform. So it's going to be really interesting, like you said, to kind of have these debates on a Zoom call, because we break off sometimes in a Model UN conference. So how are we going to break off on a Zoom call? So it's very interesting.
Very, very interesting. And since you were much younger than our average guest in here, no offense to anybody else out there, folks. I shouldn't say much younger, but you're definitely younger. How would you say the younger generation students, whether they're high school students, and you're getting close to that college age, to obviously talk about your peers. How do you think the epidemic or the pandemic, or it's probably an epidemic right now, it is an epidemic right now, is affecting them? Do you think that the extra hour of sleep that they might be getting is benefiting them, or are they just totally anxious to go outside?
So if you asked that question 2 weeks ago, I would have given you a definitive answer that covers like 99.9% of the high school.
Which was what?
So I remember it vividly. The principal got on, right, and he was announcing it, and everyone was so happy. You could barely hear him anymore from the screaming. I had a friend of mine who got on his desk and said, "God bless America." And I wasn't there for the moon landing, but I feel like that's how Americans reacted when Nixon said we landed on the moon, right? So it was crazy. But now that we pushed through these few weeks and the superintendent let out an email saying, we're extending this period, everyone, and I mean everyone, except the few students who do like online schooling, and they will not admit to that because they will be crucified by the students who are upset about it. They were hysterically
Don't tell your
crying.
student council
Don't tell them.
representative.
But no, they were like crying about it. They're, when I said I wanted to be homeschooled, I didn't really mean it. Like, I want to go back to school. You have kids who are cutting class who are now like, I want to go back to school, and that says something, Peter, right? So, they were very upset about it. And I do want to say, though, that a lot of them, they're not taking it very seriously, and they're the same students that are saying, well, coronavirus better not cancel my graduation or prom or summer or what summer plans or whatnot. And I think if you do want that graduation, that prom, and that summer plan, you have to follow the mandates, stay home, and flatten that curve. So
I like that. Listen to your student council representative, folks. Well, we're so happy to have you on. Petra John, Bayonne High School, class of 2021.
correct.
See that?
There you go.
Hopefully it'll be over by then, and you will be able to walk. Hopefully your senior
Hopefully.
class will be able to walk this year. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving us a student's perspective. And maybe we'll have you on in the future. We'll probably get you on through Skype or Zoom or anything.
Zoom, right.
Whatever the kids are doing these days. I'm a little older now, you know what I mean? Folks,
old.
I like that. Thank you so much. See, I'm just getting compliments all over. Anyway, Petra John, thanks again. Folks, when we come back, Matt Litikanen of Mile Square Church will be on. We will be back.
Peter Biancamano, your hostess with the mostest of the Postal Peter B. Folks, don't forget to get on our YouTube page and binge watch all of our past episodes. Type in the Postal Peter B in your search bar and please subscribe. Also, go on our Instagram page and follow us at The Pulse with Peter B. Get on our Facebook page and follow and like us there. All you have to do is type in The Pulse with Peter B in the search bar. You're not going to want to miss it. We're constantly updating that page with previews. We put our full shows on there. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at our email address, and that is thepulsewithpeterb@gmail.com. We look forward to responding to you.
Welcome back to The Pulse with Peter B. I'm Peter Biancamano. Joining us via Skype at this time is Matt Litikanen, who is the pastor of Mile Square Church. Matt, how are you today? Hope you and your family are safe.
Hey, Peter. Good to see you. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
Matt, you were on the program before, and we discussed how your organization has been hosting community events. But you're a new house of worship in the community. Why do you believe Hoboken is the right place to start a new religious organization?
Well, there's this phrase that I've come to understand and really appreciate. Different churches reach different people, and new churches reach new people. And the reality is, at the heart of it, we're not here to just connect with all the new Christians. It's not my belief that there's a bunch of Christians just waiting and wondering like, oh, when's the next new church going to start up in Hoboken? I don't think that's the thing. That's not why I came here. Honestly, I think that many people don't really know what the church is about. Many people think they have an idea of who Jesus is, but I think my goal is to simply introduce people to the Jesus they've never met. And so I think that's why we're here. We're trying to introduce people to the Jesus they've never met and to the church that could be in their life.
So Matt, we see other religious organizations, whether they be non-denominational or more traditional in town, such as Catholic and Protestant, just churches, just to name a few. What makes Miles Square Church different?
Yeah, no, that's a really great question. And I was reflecting on this, Jesus is the most compelling person to have ever lived, I believe. And what I've seen in my understanding of what people perceive about Christianity, perceive about Christians and the church, is that people say that the church is judgmental. People say that the church is irrelevant. Or maybe even worse than that, people are simply just apathetic. They don't even care. But I look at the stories of Jesus and the narratives that the Gospels relay, and it's just like, man, this guy is the most compelling, dynamic, incredible, divisive. I mean, he grabs people's attention. Like people cannot. Maybe they may hate his guts, but they're enthused by him, and he stirs up energy. And I think like that's what I mean. Like we want to introduce people to the Jesus they've never met. It's like every single moment of Jesus' life, it was like good news to be around him. Just being in his presence, it was like, this is a good thing. And that's what I want the church to be. We want the church to be good news every single place we go, whether we're interacting with an individual, like on an individual basis, or just in our community. We want to be good news for Hoboken,
So Matt, we see many, if not all at this time, churches in town change their times of worships to more digital means, let's just say, for social distancing purposes, obviously, during this COVID-19 pandemic. I'm sure you were doing the same thing at Miles Square Church?
Yeah, no, we're absolutely changing things. I mean, as this has done for everybody, I think it's tested all of our learning agilities in a way that this is unprecedented for all of us in this generation. And what I've seen is I feel like people need two things right now. They need community, just a place to connect. And two, they just need hope because this is a crazy, crazy time. And so we've done a couple things. We've just kind of reoriented everything that we're doing. Our regular rhythm has been shifted to accommodate that. So on like Thursday nights, we just have regular virtual game nights or virtual pub nights. We've tried those things. We're doing that this week. And it's been to pretty good effect, and it's been really a place for connection. And on top of that, we also just providing places for hope. Of course, worship's that place. Of course, we're going to have the opportunity to worship on a Sunday morning at 10 a.m. online. But we also have like a small group, and so we converse and like ground ourselves in the words of God. And or kind of turning ourselves in our contemplation away from like all the chaos outside and turning the chaos that may be inside, and then turning that to the calm that God provides us. Yeah.
So Matt, for spiritual viewers out there, and we've never gone this deep in on the pulse here, one might ask, why is God letting this happen? What would be your response to this?
Man, that's a classic question. It has been the perennial question. It's been asked for ages. If God's all good, why is he letting this bad thing happen? If he's powerful, couldn't he do something about this? And yeah, there is so much that has been said. Honestly, I look at the media and I look at what I've heard from other churches. Maybe you've seen this, or maybe our viewers have seen this as well. There was something that was reported that a pastor had said that God is punishing America for its sins, and because of its sins, if we had just turned and had a more traditional Christian ethic, man, that couldn't be further from the truth. Honestly, it could not be further from the truth. That it's not this. I think oftentimes we think about God as like this kind of, it's like an exchange of goods, or like a karmometer. If we do good, then good's going to come your way. And sure, that's true in some instances, but when we try and attach like cosmic significance to what's going on around us and like attribute, it's, America sinned, like that's not it. It's all about the gospel. We cannot earn the favor of God. We cannot earn that. And God's going to be gracious to us even in the midst of this. And I think he's answered it ultimately. Like the whole problem of evil, this whole issue, God entered in. As Christians, we believe that God entered as the man Jesus into our existence, took on all of our brokenness and sin, and the experienced pain completely identifies with the human experience. And so whatever you want to say about whether where evil is right now in the world, what you have to say, if you look at the Christian tradition, is God does care. He actually cared so much that he died fighting for it.
Matt, mental health can be so prevalent in a time like this. What would your recommendation be to a person who might be trapping themselves in their own mind?
That's great. Yeah, no, it's so easy in times of crisis, and even in more common times of crisis, to be sucked in on the gravity of our own self-concern and turn inward on ourselves. And it's hard to pull ourselves up out of that. We've had groups of prayer praying for those who are feeling those addictions and temptations toward things that they just don't want to be pulled into. But I think when we start thinking only about me and start being trapped in that rowdy of self-concern, I think of the Psalm 23, which probably many viewers know, even if they're not religious. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Or you can say, the Lord is my shepherd, I have everything I need. So if we can actually operate and believe that we have everything that we need, that God, Jesus invites us, look at the birds of the air, look at the flowers of the field. They don't care. They don't know that COVID-19 is happening, but they believe and they trust that God's going to take care of them, and he does. And I think if we can actually believe in that, we can really have a posture of looking out and pulling ourselves out of that. And so I think two things I would recommend to do is pray. I know that not everyone's religious, but prayer is that thing where you can direct your contemplation, your thoughts away from what's going on inside and go up toward God, toward heaven. And then the other thing is just simply to get involved. Get involved in the community. There's so many things. That's one of the biggest bright spots, Peter, of this entire thing, is that Hoboken and Sir Jersey City as well has been just coming alive with offers of help and assistance. So just collaborate and join in. That's a great way to do it.
All right, Matt, we have a few seconds left here. Where can our viewers find out more information about your church and where they can join?
That's a great question. So the best way to do that is just to head to our website, milesquare.church. All the information about how we're addressing personally the COVID-19 crisis and how you can get involved in different community initiatives here in Hoboken, that's all there online. Also, special invite to Easter. If you go to easterforhoboken.com, there'll be a landing page that'll give you all the information about our Easter services, our Good Friday service, 7 o'clock p.m. Friday for Good Friday, and then Sunday is 10 a.m. for Easter service. So hope you'll join us.
All right, Matt Letakainen, pastor of Miles Square Church. Thank you so much for joining us. Please stay safe. Folks, I'm Peter Biancamano. Join us next week for The Pulse on everything you need to know. Have a great week, everybody.